based on the feedback you've all been giving us, you really like it when I make a video behind the wheel of my Ford F150 Lightning Lariat, and today I'm going to be giving you another one. I'm driving into Portland to do an errand this morning, and therefore it's the perfect time to give you an update on some of the issues that I've been having with the F150 Lightning Lariat. I should preface this by saying this is kind of a multi-part update video. I'm going to start by talking about some of the niggling issues that we're still having with the software update functionality of the F150 Lightning's over-the-air system. Also detail the issues that we are continuing to have with the Ford Intelligent power backup system for our house. And finally, I've got a few updates for the channel, including a big thank you to those of you who stepped up to the plate and supported us after the weekend video that we made explaining why we are turning off comments. Without further ado, let's talk about the issues that we're having with the over-the-air update system for our F-150 Lightning Lariat. From what I can tell, the truck is locked in this update cycle where it won't let me do any future software updates until I apply the software update pertaining to winter range estimate improvements. I've actually talked to Ford's engineering team directly, and they've given me some tips and hints as to how to apply the update, including making sure that my battery is fully charged. Ford actually told me to go for a multi-hour drive and then try to apply the update, which I did, and it didn't work. There've also been some suggestions on forums that you should try and turn off the lights when you attempt the update. I'm not entirely sure how that works with this because, if I'm honest, this truck has automatic headlights. It also has approach headlights. When the truck detects that you are coming near, either with the keys or your phone, it automatically turns the lights back on. So I'm not entirely sure how one is supposed to do that because the update requires it, at least according to some folks. I've also tried manually disconnecting the battery from the truck and charging it using a 12-volt battery tender, something that took basically all day, reconnecting the battery to the truck, rebooting the truck and trying that. I also followed some tips from Ford's engineering team to keep my foot on the brake pedal and do a full power cycle and then try the update, and none of these have worked. Because Michael's car required me to buy one of those little onboard diagnostic dongles that allows me to talk to GM vehicles, I understand that also works with Ford's onboard diagnostic system and also the software update system that Ford garages and dealerships have access to. So I'm actually contemplating taking out a subscription to that service, which is what, $50 or $60 for the weekend, and then at that point applying the update manually. I don't really want to do that. I may just ask my dealership to do it when my truck goes in for its next service, which should be about the 20,000 mile mark. We currently have 16,938.4 miles as of this moment in time. Sorry, 0.5. While we are on the subject of the Ford Pass app, I want to tell you all that there is a change to the Ford Pass app that's coming very soon. We received an email this week notifying us that Ford is going to remove the onboard scale and smart hitch functionality from the Ford Pass app from this point onwards. Ford says in its email that if you have those features in your truck, and as an early F-150 Lightning, this truck had it from the factory, I'll still be able to use the touchscreen system in the truck to activate the smart scale and the smart hitch functionality. I just won't be able to use the Ford Pass app to check in on them, but to be honest, I never have. So that's not a biggie for me, and of course, most F-150 Lightnings, if not all F-150 Lightnings that have been built in the last couple of months, have not included the electronics for those features anyway. So it kind of makes sense. The app and the truck out of the way, let's talk about the Ford home integration system, which has been an absolute nightmare. If you've watched our videos on the channel about it, you'll know that we've had a plethora of issues and the truck has just not worked with the home integration system reliably. We've had a couple of times where the system, we've done a manual activation and the system has worked as intended, but we've had to go into the specialist app that installers have and reboot the home integration system by telling the dark start battery, which is the thing that powers the system when the power is off, so that it can then talk to the truck. We've had to turn that off in the installer app and reboot it before we've been able to have any kind of successful connection. And I've tried now 3 or 4 times to activate the system and it's just not worked. And we've waited kind of 5-10 minutes and nothing's happened. So we've then turned the mains power back on. The reason I have been trying to attempt these is we've had some pretty gnarly weather of late. We've had heavy snowfall, we've had heavy winds, and things have not been particularly stable with our electrical grid. We've had a couple of blips where the power's gone off for maybe 30 seconds or a couple of minutes and then come back on. And not in any situation yet has the Ford home integration system kicked in. To be fair, we haven't received the bill for it yet. And again, to be fair, Sunrun has reached out to us and asked us if they can come out and try and troubleshoot one more time. When Sunrun initially offered to come out and diagnose faults, they offered to fly out some of their senior engineers from the East Coast to try and examine our system and figure out what's going on. And at the time I said, well, it seemed to be working when they offered, and I was like, let's get some more data and then I'll let you know. I think we've now reached that point where we're like, you know what? I would really like it if you could come out and look at this system, because it's about $10,000. It's $9,500 for this system. We got it because we wanted to document if this was indeed the future of home backup, using a big vehicle like the Ford F150 to just keep your home running in a blackout. We've had a couple of successful tests, but we've not been able to use it really in anger yet. And frankly, that is very frustrating. If you're spending that much money on a system, it really needs to work in any situation at the drop of a metaphorical hat. And it's just not working. So I'm going to be reaching out to Sunrun and asking them to fix this. I want to reiterate, I'm not holding Ford responsible for this terrible system. It's a Sunrun system. It's designed by Delta. I believe the fault lies not with the truck, but with the actual hardware. I am hoping they are going to decide to RMA the hardware. It's very early hardware in their production cycle. I'm hoping there's just an issue with the hardware, but honestly, it is unacceptable that this system is not working. I also want to point out this truck, other than the over-the-air software update, this truck has been stellar. It's cold outside right now. I've maybe got an 80% state of charge and it says I've got 236 miles of range. I've not seen a massive drop in range in the winter because of the cold weather, unlike a lot of people out there. I've not had any issues with the battery pack, despite those very disturbing pieces of news of late about batteries catching fire at the factory, or one battery catching fire at the factory. The hands-free system has been really good. I've got my hand kind of just resting on the wheel right now, but the truck is doing the steering for me and making sure that I'm not too close to the vehicle in front. Everything else about this truck has been awesome. We've used it, as I noted in a previous video, to do lots of towing. My partner recently helped a family member get a large piece of furniture somewhere, just threw it in the back of the bed. Again, no issues whatsoever. No issues with cold weather, no issues with traction. The truck has been amazing. Other than that over-the-air software update and other than the home integration system. I should, of course, acknowledge that the home integration system issues may be caused by the truck. I don't know. There's just seemingly no activation going on, whether it's a communication issue, whether it's something else. I honestly can't tell you. The truck part of this out of the way, let me give you an update on what's going on at the channel. And This is kind of a two-parter. I'm going to start with the tech side of things. We are in the process of setting up a tape drive backup system. We want to try and buy a tape drive system. For those who watch the channel regularly, you'll know that we live out in the boonies and we don't have access to cable internet. The only internet we have is a local Wi-Fi connection that is beamed down the valley and a Starlink, unfortunately. Much as we would like to not have Starlink, Starlink is effectively our backup for downloading large files because our local 20 megabit per second internet provider can easily get bogged down if we try and download too many large files. Although interestingly, we have to use our local internet to upload stuff to YouTube because Starlink just won't work. In an ideal world, I'd love to have a faster, more comprehensive internet connection, and I know we could move, but obviously that's something that's not easily done in today's modern world, and neither my partner nor I really want to move. So there is no backup right now for the 500 terabytes or so of hard drives that we have on our server that we are using to provide a storage medium for all of the video files that we use on a regular basis. And this server just sits there, and every time we film, we put our footage on there, and the amount of footage grows and grows and grows. And it's important that we keep a copy of our footage, because very often we have to revisit videos that we've filmed in the past and reuse footage that we've shot in the past. And in the case of the TEN show 10, we use that regularly, and very often footage that we use in 10 is no longer available from the car company's website. A lot of the Tesla footage we have is no longer readily available. A lot of the Nissan Leaf and the early Chevrolet Volt and the Bolt footage, it's not readily available. Not only that, but it would take an age to download based on that internet connection that I told you about earlier. So what we have is we have this massive library of footage, but we don't have any way of readily backing it up. Now we have a second server which backs up the most recent stuff, but even that is not large enough to back up our hard drives. And buying hard drives, we have to buy hard drives in multiples of 5 or 6 at a time, which can be sort of $3,000 or $4,000. We have to use server grade hard drives because they're in a server rack. It gets very hot, and we need the durability of those long hard drives. We can't just shuck consumer hard drives. You have to buy hard drives that are designed for the purpose, that have the error correction. This is not like your personal Plex library. I have a Plex library server. That's different, and I use consumer grade hard drives for that. But for a business, you have to use business grade hard drives. They're expensive. So while we have a backup server on site, we don't have an off-site backup. And as anybody in data will tell you, if it's not in 3 different places in 2 different formats, it's not backed up. So technically it's not backed up. I recently acquired an Xserve 3.1, an old Mac Xserve, and I'm in the process of adding a new processor to it, upgrading the RAM, upgrading the graphics card, and I've just purchased a 10 gigabit network card combined with a Thunderbolt card, in the hope that I can use that Xserve as an appliance to run a Thunderbolt tape drive. Now there are a couple of different tape drive options available. I'm going to be looking at them, and I'm hoping that I will be able to get these tape drives running and operating, and that we will be able to get the tape drive backing up all of our footage as safely and as reliably as possible. That is going to be my goal moving forwards. And with any luck at all, it's going to be something that we're going to be able to share a little bit more of on this channel moving forward. So If you have any knowledge of tape backup drives, and I'm talking about contemporary ones, because let's be honest, the small ones, they're not going to be capable enough. So large format tape drives, if you have any experience of those, I would love to hear your experiences. If you have any information on a particular Thunderbolt tape drive that you use, again, I would love to know your thoughts and your experiences and your feedback on those. The other thing that I want to say, and obviously this is the last thing on this video, is thank you to the amazing people who stepped up to the plate. I had been quite reticent to talk publicly about the amount of hate that the team at the channel had been under. The amount of racism, the amount of transphobia, the amount of homophobia that we had received. And I realise now that was a poor choice. I should have maybe been a little more vocal about the amount of hate we were getting and some of the really truly scary and obnoxious things that people were doing to the channel and to the team because of their own personal beliefs. On Sunday, I think it was, I made a video saying, hey, we're going to turn off the comments because I'm in a very bad place mentally and emotionally, and I was very honest about it in a subsequent post that I made suggesting this is how I'm feeling. And many of you stepped up to the plate. We have received an incredible outpouring of support, both financial and also just saying, hey, we're here, we see you, we stand with you, don't let the bastards get you down. And that feedback and that support changed things dramatically for me personally, but also for the team. And not only did we see an increase in Patreon supporters, and that wasn't my intent when we made that video. I didn't expect people to suddenly go, hey, we're going to start supporting you on Patreon and give you lots of money. But the increase in financial support was very welcome. It now means, A, we're going to be able to put some money towards this backup system, which, you know, is really expensive, and we haven't reached our goal yet. We need to raise about another $4,000 to actually be able to buy the tape drive. But it's meant that I've not worried, and I do not have to worry about payroll. I don't have to worry about enabling the comments on YouTube because of a perception that we needed to keep the comments on, otherwise we were going to lose support or we were going to lose income. And frankly, that has been amazing. So thank you so much to everybody who has supported the channel and has made what we do easier. I had the best night's sleep on Sunday that I think I have ever had in the last year at least. I went into our work stand-up on Monday morning actually not stressing about comments or hate. And yes, there were one or two of you who saw it fit to send us email telling us how terrible we were and how we were going to hell and how, you know, we are next. I had a couple of those. I had someone who said we are too far up our own bottoms and they think that turning off the comments will kill the channel, and if that happens, well, we deserve it. Hello to whoever you are, you're a lovely piece of work. And we also had a couple of people who figured out that our main channel might have had its comments turned off, but that we still had comments on some of our other stuff, and therefore they thought it would be okay to comment on our other channels and tell us how terrible we were on those channels. And again, you're lovely people, but comments have now been turned off on those channels as well. So I guess it sucks to be you. And if you are a Portland local, you will notice that I made a terrible faux pas in my parking, or my parking in my driving, because I was talking to the camera and I realized I took a wrong turning, and I could have just taken that turning and I would have been here 5 minutes ago, but that's okay. I'm just about to finish. Scrolling on my right is a list of amazing people who have made this channel possible. It is much larger and expanded than it was previously. I am sorry I do not have the list of amazing top tier and charged up supporters, but thank you so much for just making the channel more a nicer place to work and a nicer place to be. So if you are part of that, if you made that possible, thank you. I'm sorry that I don't have your names to read out now, but you know what? There will be normal service resumed very soon. If you want to support us, do remember Patreon. You can also go to Bitcoin, Ko-fi, or buy something from our swag store. There's also a YouTube channel membership if you feel so inclined. And if you want to engage with us, if you want to engage with the team, do so by going to Discord, link in the description below, or by joining Mastodon, and then following the Transport Evolved accounts on Mastodon. We have plenty. Should also note very quickly that both Kate Walton Elliott and myself have 2 Mastodon accounts, our official Transport Evolved ones and our personal ones. And we just ask that people respect our personal channels and try not to bring too much work stuff into that. But if you want to talk to us about retro computing or whatever else is going on in our life, follow us on both accounts. We would love that. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and as always, keep evolving.